They look like something out of a sci-fi film, but these machines are very real, and most pilots have never even heard their names. Today, we're breaking down 10 of the most advanced mini gyrocopters flying right now. If you're into aviation, don't miss what's coming. Hit that subscribe button before we dive in, because this channel covers machines like this every single week. Let's get into it. Number 10. Autogyro Calidus. We're kicking things off with a machine that's become something of a benchmark in the gyrocopter world. Even though most people outside the sport have never laid eyes on one, the Autogyro Calidus. Built by Autogyro GmbH, a German manufacturer that's been refining rotorcraft design for over 2 decades, the Calidus was designed with one clear goal: comfort without sacrificing performance. Unlike older gyrocopter designs that felt more like strapping yourself to a lawn chair with a propeller, the Calidus offers a fully enclosed cabin, side-by-side seating, and an aerodynamic fairing that actually makes long cross-country flights enjoyable rather than exhausting. Powered by a Vortex 915 turbocharged engine producing around 115 horsepower, the Calidus can cruise comfortably at speeds up to 100 knots, which is remarkably fast for an aircraft in this category. Its climb rate is equally impressive, often exceeding 1,000 feet per minute, giving pilots the ability to get above weather or terrain quickly. What really sets the Calidus apart is its build quality. The airframe uses a combination of steel tubing and composite panels, giving it a rigidity that older gyrocopters simply didn't have. The rotor system is a 2-blade design with a teetering hub, which keeps maintenance simple while still delivering smooth, predictable handling in gusty conditions, something gyrocopters have historically struggled with. Inside the cockpit, pilots get a modern glass panel option, adjustable seating, and enough baggage space to actually pack for a weekend trip. This isn't a toy, it's a legitimate touring aircraft that happens to use rotor blades instead of fixed wings. The Calidus has quietly become the aircraft of choice for gyrocopter schools across Europe, and it's starting to gain traction in the United States as more pilots discover just how capable these machines are. If you've never seen one in person, picture something between a small helicopter and a sport plane, minus the complexity and cost of either. Number 9. Magny M24 Plus. Next up is a machine built by a name that gyrocopter enthusiasts respect deeply, the Magny Gyro Company out of Italy, and specifically their flagship model, the M24 Plus. Vittorio Magni founded this company decades ago, and his engineering philosophy has always centered on one thing: rotor efficiency. The M24 Plus is the result of that obsession. This is a tandem 2-seat gyrocopter, meaning the pilot and passengers sit front and back rather than side by side, which actually improves the aircraft's aerodynamics and visibility for both occupants. The M24 Plus typically runs on a Vortex 915S engine, a turbocharged powerhouse producing 141 horsepower. That's a serious amount of power for an aircraft weighing under 700 pounds empty. The result is a climb rate that can exceed 1,500 feet per minute and a top speed pushing past 110 knots in the right conditions. What makes this gyrocopter stand out isn't just the power though, it's the rotor blade design. Magny uses a proprietary blade profile that reduces vibrations significantly compared to older systems, which means longer flights feel smoother and pilots experience far less fatigue. The pre-rotator system, which spins the rotor blades before takeoff, is also one of the most refined in the industry, allowing for shorter takeoff rolls. The airframe itself uses a mix of aircraft-grade aluminum and carbon fiber components in key stress areas, keeping weight down without compromising structural integrity. Magny has also paid close attention to the little details that matter to real pilots: ergonomic controls, excellent sightlines, and a canopy design that minimizes wind noise at cruise speed. Because Magny builds in relatively small numbers and focuses heavily on the European market, the M24 Plus remains something of a hidden gem in North America. Pilots who've flown one, though, consistently rank it among the best handling gyrocopters ever built. Number 8. Magny M16 Plus. Sticking with Magny for a moment, because this company genuinely deserves 2 spots on this list, we're looking at the M16 Plus, the single-seat sibling to the M24. If the M24 is Magny's touring aircraft, the M16 is their sports car. Stripped down to a single seat, the M16 Plus is significantly lighter, which translates directly into performance numbers that are honestly a little absurd for something this small. With the same Vortex engine options available, including the 915 POWIS, the power-to-weight ratio on this aircraft allows for climb rates that can rival small helicopters. Because there's no second occupant to account for, Magny engineers were able to optimize the M16's center of gravity and control response specifically for solo aerobatic-style flying. This gyrocopter is built for pilots who want pure responsiveness, quick roll rates, sharp pitch authority, and a rotor system tuned for aggressive maneuvering within the safe envelope of gyrocopter flight. The M16 Plus uses the same high-efficiency rotor blades found on the M24, but because the aircraft is so much lighter, the blade loading characteristics change the entire feel of the flight. Pilots often describe it as flying a motorcycle with wings rather than a traditional aircraft. Fuel efficiency is another area where the M16 shines. With a smaller airframe and lower overall weight, it sips fuel compared to larger gyrocopters, giving it an impressive range for a single-seat sport aircraft. Many owners report getting well over 3 hours of flight time on a single tank, which is unusual in this category. Visually, the M16 Plus has a distinctly aggressive stance, with a low-profile fuselage and an exposed frame aesthetic that appeals to pilots who want their aircraft to look as fast as it flies. It's become something of a cult favorite among experienced gyrocopter pilots, specifically because it demands skill to fly well and rewards that skill with performance most light sport aircraft simply can't match. Number 7. Aviomania G2A Genesis. Now we're moving into territory that's genuinely obscure for most viewers. The Aviomania G2A Genesis, built by a Cyprus-based manufacturer that doesn't get nearly the recognition it deserves. Aviomania has taken a slightly different design philosophy compared to the German and Italian manufacturers on this list. The Genesis was built with an emphasis on structural redundancy and pilot safety systems that go beyond what's typically required for this aircraft category. It features a fully enclosed cockpit with an emergency ballistic parachute system built directly into the design, something that's still relatively uncommon in the mini gyrocopter world. Powered by the Rotorvox 914 or 915S depending on configuration, the Genesis delivers solid performance numbers with cruise speeds around 90 to 100 knots and a useful load that makes it genuinely practical for 2 adults plus baggage. What really distinguishes this aircraft, though, is its landing gear system. Aviomania engineered a robust suspension setup capable of handling rougher airstrips, which opens up off-airport landing possibilities that many other gyrocopters simply aren't built for. The airframe construction leans heavily on high-strength steel tubing combined with composite bodywork, giving the Genesis a reputation for durability in harsher operating environments. This has made it particularly popular among pilots operating in regions with less than ideal runway conditions, including parts of the Middle East and Eastern Europe, where Aviomania has built a loyal following. Inside, the Genesis offers a surprisingly refined cabin for an aircraft from a relatively small manufacturer, with dual controls available, adjustable seating, and instrument options ranging from traditional analog gauges to full glass cockpit displays. Because Aviomania doesn't have the same marketing presence as Autogyro or Magny, the Genesis rarely comes up in mainstream gyrocopter discussions, despite offering a genuinely compelling combination of safety features, durability, and performance that rivals much better-known competitors. Number 6. Sportcopter Vortex M912. Rounding out the first half of our list is an American-built machine, which feels appropriate given where a lot of you watching are tuning in from. The Sportcopter Vortex M912 Sportcopter is based out of Oregon, and they've carved out a distinct niche in the gyrocopter world by focusing heavily on ease of construction for the experimental and kit-built aircraft community. The Vortex M912 is available both as a factory-built aircraft and as a kit, which has made it enormously popular among American pilots who want to build their own gyrocopter without dealing with the import headaches of European manufacturers. Powered by the Rotorvox 912 series engine, producing around 100 horsepower in most configurations, the Vortex M912 isn't chasing the raw power numbers of some of its European counterparts. Instead, Sportcopter prioritized reliability and simplicity. This is an engine platform with an extremely well-documented maintenance history, which matters enormously to owner pilots who are doing much of their own upkeep. The airframe design uses a straightforward tube and fabric construction in some areas combined with composite panels, keeping build costs reasonable while still delivering respectable performance. Cruise speeds typically sit in the 70 to 85 knot range, which is more modest than some machines on this list, but the trade-off is an aircraft that's remarkably forgiving to fly, making it a favorite for pilots transitioning into gyrocopters from fixed-wing backgrounds. Copter has also built a strong reputation around customer support and training, running their own flight instruction programs specifically tailored to new Vortex owners. This hands-on approach has created a tight-knit community of American gyrocopter pilots who often cite Copter as their entry point into the sport. The Vortex M912 might not have the flashiest specs on this list, but its accessibility, strong support network, and proven track record make it one of the most practical mini gyrocopters available to pilots in the United States today. That covers the first 5 machines on our list. Let me know in the comments which one has surprised you the most so far, because the next 5 get even more interesting. Number 5. Rotorvox C2A. The Rotorvox C2A comes out of Poland, and it's quickly become one of the most talked about names among gyrocopter builders who actually pay attention to what's happening in Eastern Europe's aviation scene. What makes the C2A stand out immediately is its design philosophy. This is a tandem 2-seat aircraft built with an emphasis on aerodynamic efficiency that's noticeably more aggressive than most of its competitors. The fuselage shape reduces drag significantly compared to older gyrocopter designs, which directly translates into better fuel economy and higher cruise speeds for the same engine output. Rotorvox typically equips the C2A with the Rotorvox 914 or 915IS, and thanks to that reduced drag profile, pilots report cruise speeds comfortably in the 100 to 110 knot range, putting it right at the top of this category. Climb performance is equally strong, with the aircraft capable of exceeding 10,200 feet per minute in ideal conditions. The airframe uses a combination of composite panels over a steel tube subframe, giving the C2A a sleek, almost sport plane appearance that sets it apart visually from bulkier gyrocopter designs. The canopy is exceptionally large, giving both occupants outstanding visibility, which matters a lot for pilots who use gyrocopters for aerial photography or simply enjoy sightseeing flights. Rotorvox has also invested heavily in refining the rotor head and pre-rotator system, resulting in shorter takeoff distances and smoother transitions into flight. Because the company is still relatively young and focused primarily on European sales, the C2A remains almost completely unknown to American pilots, despite offering performance numbers that rival much more established manufacturers. Number 4. Aeroopter AC20. Next is the Aeroopter AC20, built in the Czech Republic by a manufacturer that's been quietly perfecting gyrocopter design since the early 2000s. The AC20 is a single-seat aircraft designed specifically for pilots who want maximum performance in the lightest possible package. Aeroopter stripped away anything unnecessary, resulting in an empty weight that's among the lowest in this entire category. Combined with Rotorvox engine options ranging from the 912 up to the 915IS, the power-to-weight ratio on this aircraft is exceptional. What really defines the AC20, though, is its rotor system. Aeroopter developed a custom blade design optimized specifically for high-speed cruise rather than maximum lift, which is a different engineering approach than most of the manufacturers we've covered so far. The result is an aircraft that feels remarkably stable at higher speeds, with less of the vibration that typically increases as gyrocopters approach their top end. The fuselage construction relies heavily on carbon fiber composite panels, which not only reduces weight but also gives the AC20 a polished, almost fighter jet inspired aesthetic that turns heads at every airfield it visits. Inside the cockpit, everything is positioned for minimal drag, with a low profile seating position and a tightly fitted canopy. Because Aeroopter produces these aircraft in very limited numbers, primarily for the European experimental aviation market, the AC20 has essentially zero presence in the United States. Even among dedicated gyrocopter enthusiasts, this is a machine that very few people have ever seen in person, let alone flown. Number 3. Gyrocoptero 914. Now we're heading to Brazil for a machine that represents South America's growing presence in the gyrocopter world, the Gyrocoptero 914. Built by a Brazilian manufacturer focused on adapting proven European engineering to the specific demands of South American flying conditions, the Gyrocoptero 914 is named after its signature engine, the Rotorvox 914 turbocharged 4-cylinder. This engine choice wasn't arbitrary. Brazil's varied terrain, from high-altitude regions to hot hot coastal airfields, demands an engine that maintains performance across a wide range of density altitudes, and the turbocharged 914 delivers exactly that. The airframe design borrows heavily from established European tube and composite construction methods, but with reinforced landing gear suited to the rougher airstrips common throughout rural Brazil. This is a two-seat aircraft built for practicality as much as performance, with a useful load that accommodates two adults comfortably, along with a reasonable amount of gear. Cruise speeds typically sit around 85 to 95 knots, with a climb rate that handles Brazil's higher altitude airfields without significant performance penalties, something not every gyrocopter on this list can claim. The cockpit layout favors simplicity, with straightforward analog instrumentation in most configurations, reflecting the aircraft's role as a dependable workhorse rather than a technology showcase. Because South American aircraft manufacturers rarely get coverage in English-language aviation media, the Gyrocoptero 914 remains almost entirely unknown outside Brazil, despite representing a genuinely capable and well-engineered addition to the mini gyrocopter category. Number 2. Eclipse Evo. Coming in at number 2 is a machine that's generated serious buzz within niche gyrocopter circles, but almost never makes it into mainstream aviation content. The Eclipse Evo. This aircraft focuses on refining the enclosed cabin gyrocopter concept even further than machines like the Calidus or Genesis. The Eclipse Evo features an aerodynamically optimized fuselage shape developed using modern computational design tools, resulting in one of the lowest drag coefficients in this entire category. That efficiency shows up directly in the numbers, with cruise speeds pushing past 105 knots on the Vortex 915S variant, while maintaining fuel consumption figures that are genuinely impressive for an aircraft this fast. The cabin itself is fully enclosed with climate considerations built into the design, including ventilation systems that keep the cockpit comfortable during extended flights in warmer climates. Side-by-side seating gives both occupants full access to controls and instrumentation, with a glass panel avionics suite available as standard on most configurations. Structurally, the Eclipse Evo uses an advanced composite monocoque design in key sections of the fuselage, a construction method that's more commonly associated with high-end sport planes than gyrocopters. This contributes to both the aircraft's strength and its notably smooth ride quality, even in turbulent air. The rotor system incorporates a refined pre-rotator and blade design that minimizes the vibration typically felt during the transition from ground taxi to flight, an area where many gyrocopters still struggle. Given how limited production numbers are and how tightly this aircraft is marketed within specialized enthusiast networks, it's easy to see why the Eclipse Evo has stayed under the radar for so long. Number 1. Gyro AC20 Spartan. And finally, taking the top spot on our list, the Gyro AC20 Spartan, an aircraft that genuinely earns the title of most advanced mini gyrocopter most people have never heard of. Everything about the Spartan is built around one core idea, maximizing what the Rotorvox C2A engine is capable of. With 141 horsepower on tap and an airframe engineered specifically to exploit that power output, the AC20 Spartan delivers climb rates exceeding 1,600 feet per minute and cruise speeds that push toward 115 knots, numbers that put it at or near the top of every performance category on this list. The airframe combines a lightweight yet rigid tubular steel structure with strategically placed carbon fiber composite panels, striking a balance between strength and weight that few manufacturers have managed this effectively. The rotor system uses a next-generation blade profile designed to reduce retreating blade stall margins, allowing for more aggressive maneuvering while maintaining the safety characteristics gyrocopters are known for. Inside, the Spartan offers a fully digital glass cockpit as standard, a feature still considered a luxury upgrade on many competing aircraft. Dual controls, adjustable seating, and a canopy designed for minimal wind noise round out a cabin experience that feels closer to a modern light sport aircraft than a traditional gyrocopter. What truly sets the Spartan apart, though, is how the entire aircraft was engineered as a cohesive system rather than a collection of upgraded parts. Every component, from the landing gear geometry to the rotor mast angle, was tuned specifically for this airframe, resulting in handling characteristics that pilots consistently describe as the most refined they've experienced in this category. Produced in very limited numbers by a manufacturer that prioritizes quality over volume, the AC20 Spartan remains almost entirely unknown outside a small circle of serious gyrocopter enthusiasts, making it the perfect perfect way to close out this list. That's all 10. If any of these machines caught your attention, let us know which one in the comments, and subscribe for more deep dives into aircraft most people never get to see.